Well, shit.
What are y'all doing?
This is awful. I'm Deontay,
I'm Jordan.
and today we are back with Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. The discussion regarding the book and the movie. Jordan's first time reading the book, and today is a very special day because it is Jordan's birthday.
Whoop, whoop.
Hey, 25 for the fifth time. Hey, so so we're gonna get into the discussion. Hopefully this one won't be as long.
No, we ain't gonna make it an hour like the last one. We gonna
Yeah.
get this show on the
Wait,
road.
the last one was it an hour? No, because we
Oh,
haven't
that
uploaded.
was
That was
book
four.
four.
That was four. It was a long one. It was a long one. But anyway, we're gonna get
All
right into it. We're gonna start with the chapter one.
So the book opens up with what's going on in the Muggle world right now. We know that from book 5, Voldemort is back. Fudge was trying to act like he wasn't, but he has seen him now, so he knows there's no denying it. Voldemort is back. Fudge has gone to the Prime Minister of London now. We know that they are in communication, even though the Prime Minister is a Muggle. Fudge does have to let him know what's going on in the magic world because there are things that are happening in the magic world that are now affecting the Muggle world. So there's a bridge that has collapsed in London. There's been earthquakes, and this is all because Voldemort is back. He's now in cahoots with the giants who are just tearing stuff up.
Then they pull the roots up from the trees.
Right, that's what
caused
started the
earthquake.
earthquake. Yeah, so Fudge has to let the Prime Minister know so that he can kind of know where to go from there. Also, Fudge is up out of there now.
They got his ass up there.
He wasted a whole year not trying to believe that Voldemort is back, so he's out of there. We got a new new Minister of Magic, who is now Rufus Scrimgeour. So now in the Wizarding world, we are also seeing Narcissa and Bellatrix going to see Snape in the beginning of the book. We know that Voldemort put the dark mark out and the Death Eaters were all supposed to come and drop to his feet. Snape didn't come, so now Narcissa and Bellatrix are like, hold up, what's going on? But we know that Snape is at Hogwarts and he's doing this double agent thing, so obviously he could not go. Now he's trying to prove to them that he is still on Voldemort's side. He has done the unbreakable vow with Narcissa, who is Malfoy's mom. She is worried about Malfoy now. She thinks that Voldemort is going to try to seek revenge out on him because of his dad. So Narcissa and Snape do the unbreakable vow. He tells her that he is going to protect Malfoy at school this year.
Because isn't he's in Azkaban at this point. Lucius after
is, yeah.
the battle at the Ministry or whatever. So all right, so we jump back to see what Harry's doing. Harry obviously still at the Dursleys. He gets a letter from Dumbledore saying he's gonna come pick him up. Harry don't believe that shit. Don't pack. Don't do anything. But Dumbledore shows up right on time. Hands burnt up, and he lets Harry know that Sirius left him everything, the house or whatever, valuables, and also Creature. And then Creature shows up. He is not trying to hear that shit. He does not want to be a part of take no parts of this. And Dumbledore tells Harry it's best if you just send him to order him to go to Hogwarts and work in the kitchen or whatever. So Harry does that, sends Creature off. Before they leave, he tells the Dursleys that Harry has to come back for just one more summer till he's adult, which is the age of 17.
Because they was trying to get him up out of there.
They wanted him up out of there.
It
He's like,
was
hey, man,
like,
take him with you for good.
What do you say? This Voldy person is after you? And you go stay here?
But what do you call him? Voldy Schmorts or something like that. So Dumbledore tells him, no, you got to stay here until he's 17, until he's adult. Now, the difference in the movie and the book was none of this happened at the Dursley. He actually caught Harry at a diner. Some diner in a Subway or wherever they were. They were just some weird place that they opened the movie up with. And
that didn't make any sense before I read the book.
And so after that, they go to he tells Harry he's gonna take him to the Burrow, but first they make a stop. He sends all this stuff to the Burrow, but then they go looking for who we get introduced to as Professor Slughorn. And Dumbledore, he sets up this whole fake crime scene because he's been jumping from Muggle house to Muggle house who are on vacation. And so he jumps out. Dumbledore tells him that he needs to come back, or asks him to come back work at Hogwarts, and Slughorn's like, no, I don't want to. And then him and Harry have a discussion, and then we realize that Slughorn likes to collect all the best and the brightest students or whatever, which is why Dumbledore brought Harry to entice Slughorn to come back.
Oh, that's right. He was bribing him basically.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Look, Dumbledore was playing chess, not checkers.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm coming to get you, but also you gonna help me do this.
So then it works. Slughorn agrees to come back, and then also that was Harry's first time apparating was with Dumbledore, and so he
gets to do everything early. He's not even supposed to apparate yet. He's still underage.
Look, I mean. And so he takes.
I see why Ron kind of.
He like my last no the book before. No, it was
Goblet.
No, it's also gonna come back up again.
Yeah.
So anyway, so what happens? And so then they go to the burrow. He tells Harry, you can tell your friends about the prophecy because you're gonna need your friends with the way times are changing. Voldemort's back, so. He also tells Harry, keep the invisible cloak on you at all times and don't get in any trouble, which is him telling Harry to get in more trouble because that's exactly what's going to happen. He does not know how to control himself, and y'all know how the story goes.
So Harry's now back at the Burrow. He's meeting up with Ron and Hermione. They want to know what he's been up to over the summer, but they're kind of afraid to ask him what's been going on after everything that went down last year. But Harry does tell them about the prophecy. We know from book 5 that the prophecy has been it was in the glass and it got shattered, but Dumbledore is the only one who knew the full prophecy. So at this point, he has told Harry everything. Harry knows what he has to do. He is now telling his friends that. They get their grades in the mail. Harry and Ron both failed 2 classes. Hermione, of course, got outstanding grades in every subject. Harry's kind of sad about this because now this means that he can't be an Auror, which is what he wants to do when he gets out of school.
But she was right.
Who was right?
Umbridge. She said he was not gonna be an Auror.
I mean, he kind of had a little bit more to do than just study.
I'm just saying, though, she was right, though. At the end, she was right.
But if she listened to him and knew that Voldemort was coming, maybe she could have helped him so he didn't have to carry all of that weight by himself.
Look, all I'm saying was she said he wasn't going to be an Auror, and he's not going to be the Auror. That's all I'm saying.
Anyway, Harry's a little sad about that, but he is Quidditch captain this year, so he's excited about that. They go to Diagon Alley to get their stuff ready for the school year.
Is this Salty Potter, or am I thinking about next year?
I think that was last year.
That was last year.
Salty when they was in
prefects when he got prefect badges. That was last year. Okay, I'm just making sure.
So they are in Diagon Alley. Hagrid meets them there to protect them. They see Fred and George out there in their new store. Fred and George dropped out when Umbridge was in charge. It was like, we getting up out of here. But they're doing great in their new shop in Diagon Alley.
Wheezy's Wizards.
Weezy is WWW, but I don't remember what it is.
Weasley's Wizards. That's what I'm going with. That's what I'm going with.
They're doing great. The shop is doing great. They also see Malfoy out there. He looks a little sketch. He's going into Nocturne Alley. So they go under the invisibility cloak and follow him to see what he's doing. He goes into this shop and he's asking about how to repair something, but he can't give too much information on it, so it seems real sketch. He also put something on hold in the shop in there, so then after he leaves, Hermione goes in and tries to be all slick.
The worst. Got caught as soon as she opened her mouth.
Worst. Like, she didn't even try.
Got caught as soon as she opened her mouth.
You got perfect scores in school, but don't know how to, like...
Don't know how to be sneaky.
But anyway, the owner kicked him out. It was like, no, we ain't giving you no information.
And so it's time to get on the train. And they have extra security now because Voldemort's back. So Harry cannot stop thinking about seeing Malfoy in Nocturne Alley, right? So when they get on the train, Harry has to sit with Neville and Luna because, of course, now Ron and Hermione are in the front with the prefects. And so they got the invitation to be in Slughorn's little party or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so he hears Malfoy and Crabbe and Goyle talking, and for some reason, after Dumbledore just told him don't get in no trouble, he thought it'd be a good idea to put on his invisibility cloak and sneak into Malfoy's train.
He ain't even got to school yet.
They ain't even got to school yet. I ain't even got to school yet. So when it was either Crab or Goya, he put something up. He hits Harry. Harry makes a noise. Malfoy doesn't say anything or do anything, but he heard him. And so when everybody leaves the train, he stunned Harry, um, broke his nose, stepped on his fingers, and all this other shit. And like what I'm saying, was getting ready to send his ass back to London or whatever. But uh, Tonks found him because she's part of the extra security. Unlike in the movie, when Luna found him, it was actually Tonks. She found him, fixed him up, walked him back to the front, and that's where they saw Snape. Snape mocks Harry, takes him to the Great Hall. Dumbledore is there giving his speech. He introduces Slughorn as the new potions teacher, which pisses Harry off because he thought he was going to get away from Snape and he didn't take potions. And so now Snape is the defense against the dark arts teacher.
Finally.
And so Harry's all fucked up about that. And then Hagrid shows up late because he was with Gorp, whatever his name is, his brother. Dumbledore found him a place in the mountains, and now the three friends are also kind of nervous because they're not taking Hagrid's class this year, and they don't know how to tell him. And so also with Harry not taking potions, he thought he had a free period because he didn't take a class. But now obviously they're gonna make him take Slughorn's class now.
So Harry is about to have his first class with Snape as the defense against the dark arts teacher, and he is pissed off. Number one, he doesn't like Snape just because of his previous experiences with him. And number two, now that Voldemort is back, Harry's like, Snape could go back to the dark side any minute. So he just doesn't think that he can be trusted. So we're in Snape's class. He's teaching how to do silent spells so that your opponent doesn't know what's coming. The students pair up. Harry and Ron are supposed to be trying the silent spells on each other. Ron is not able to do it, so Snape steps in and he's gonna do the silent spell on Harry. Harry gets kind of paranoid because obviously he doesn't know what Snape is going to do. So before Snape can get his spell out, Harry counters that spell and knocks Snape backwards.
Protego!
Of course, Snape gets all embarrassed because it's his first class. He finally got the position he wanted. Harry just knocked him on his ass. So now Harry got to go to detention.
Keep in mind, Dumbledore did tell him, stay out of trouble. He's already had his nose broke, fingers crushed. He almost was sent back to London. Now he has detention on his first day in class.
We got a whole year to go.
A whole year. He already in trouble. Continue.
So he's going to have detention. He also gets a letter from Dumbledore that he's about to get some private lessons. We know that he needs much more protection against Voldemort than he thought he did before. So he's going to be starting private lessons soon. He's not quite sure what that is yet. He also goes to his first potion class with Slughorn. Slughorn lets him know that they're going to learn 3 important potions this year, being Veritaserum, Polyjuice Potion, and Armortentia, which this is foreshadowing for what's going to come in the book.
Because what is the last one?
Armortentia is that love potion.
Okay.
So that's what he says they're going to learn this year, but just for their first class, Slughorn tells them to make a Drought of Living Death. And then whoever makes the best one is going to get Felix Felicis, which is luck potion, which is also foreshadowing. Harry doesn't have a book for this class because
he wasn't expected to take him or Ron.
Yeah.
Neither one of them was expecting to take this class.
Right. So he's like, I don't have a book. I can't make the potion. Slughorn goes to find him an old book in the back office. He brings it back. Harry notices that it's been written in. He sees that it's been signed by someone named the Half-Blood Prince, and there's little notes in it.
Oh.
Foreshadowing.
No, I just...
He sees that there's little notes written in it, kind of like some cheat codes. So he starts following those. He ends up making the best potion for that class. He gets the Felix Felicis. Then Ginny is worried. She's like, I don't know if I would trust that. We already know
what happened in the Chamber of Secrets.
Ginny did had some bad problems with notes and books before, so she's like, we ain't trusting that. So Hermione does some spells on the book to see if she can come up with anything. Nothing happens. So Harry's like, I'm gonna keep the book. You know, it worked out for me this class, and maybe it'll help me in the future.
So Harry continue using the book. And Ron and Hermione, now they both hating on him because he outshine,
He just
especially
gets
look, especially
everything.
Hermione, because now he's showing off. He's remember in the office when Michael got that one thing right over Oscar, and he started acting like he was smarter than Oscar. Oscar was mad as fuck. He told Oscar, what did he ask him? He said Kelly asked him, how do you do something on a computer? And then Michael's like control P, and then Oscar was like, that's the print. And he goes, that's assuming they have the printer hooked up. Oscar, you making pretty big assumptions. So anyway,
Too big for his
too
britches.
big for his britches. So Harry's doing good in potions. Now it's time for his lesson with Dumbledore. So him and Dumbledore go to the pensieve, and in which they go into a memory. The memory was of someone who was the former head of the magical law enforcement. And so in that memory, said person, I think his name was Bob Ogden, and he's at the Gaunt house. And the reason why he's there is because one of the people that live at the Gaunt house performed a spell in front of a Muggle. So they're taking him off to stand trial in Azkaban or wherever they were taking him. But while he was there, he saw a young woman being abused, and her name was is it? I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but is it Marope? Marope? I'm going with Marope. Saw her being abused by her father, Marvolo. And at this time, we kind of already putting the pieces together: Tom, Marvolo, Riddle, and then this guy Marvolo. So we're assuming already that that's his mom, which we do find out that is his mom. She's one of the last living relatives of Salazar Slytherin. So her brother, which is the one who used the magic on the Muggle, and her dad, they both go to Azkaban. She likes the Muggle and end up using a love potion on him, and she ended up getting pregnant. They got married. I think they got married. But she gets pregnant. Yeah, they got married. She gets pregnant, and then she thinks that, because she's pregnant, that if she stopped using the love potion, that the Muggle, which is Tom Riddle Sr., she figured that he would love her. you thought you thought as soon as she stopped the love potion, he was like, yo, what the fuck is going on here? I'm out. Look, took off. He left, and then again, like I said, once her father got out of Azkaban, he later died, and then Dumbledore, for some strange reason, took his ring, which was passed down from Salazar Slytherin, and he put it on, which is weird, but he got the ring from Marvolo, and now we're back. First he brought Harry back out of the pensieve, and that's when they put all pieces together that Merope is his mother, Marvolo is his grandfather. Tom Riddle's grandfather, and his dad was Tom Riddle Sr., which was who the love potion was put on.
So the school year is carrying on. Harry, Ron, and Hermione go see Hagrid. They apologize to him for not taking his class this year. He's hurt by it, but he understands. He also tells them that Aragog is sick. Meanwhile, Harry is the captain of the Quidditch team. He's trying to get his team together. There's one person who's kind of up against Ron for a spot. Hermione actually puts a spell on him so that Ron can get on the team, because we all know that Ron is not that good, which is kind of cool because this is the first time that we see Hermione do anything.
Nice. Well, not nice for Ron, but like
No,
it's
just do anything against the rules.
not again. Well, she does a lot of things against rules when it comes to like serious stuff, but this is not as serious,
right?
And so she does break the rules. She like flat out cheats for Ron.
So Ron gets a spot on the team. Also, Slughorn is still trying to push this party thing on Harry. Harry's not sure if he wants to come. And then he has a perfect excuse. He can't go to the party because he still has detention from Snape's class. Also, they go to Hogsmeade, and they see Mundungus there. He has a silver goblet, and Harry is furious because he recognizes the silver goblet from Grimmauld Place, which is Sirius's place, and he's still
Well, that's
obviously
not
hurt.
Sirius' place no more. That's Harry's place. That's
Well,
my shit. That's my shit you have, my guy.
but he's still hurt too
Yes.
from Sirius,
Right, right,
RIP
right.
to Sirius. So he gets furious when he sees him. Also, while they're in Hogsmeade, they see two students fighting over a package. We don't know what's in it yet. But one of the students touches what's inside. It's a necklace, and then she automatically gets cursed. So Hagrid picks her up and brings her to the hospital wing. Harry goes to see McGonagall to let her know what's going on. He's very paranoid this year. He's not trusting anything. He's like, Malfoy had something to do with this because we saw him in Nocturne Alley. And McGonagall is like, it couldn't have been Malfoy because he had detention. And he's like, well, if Malfoy didn't do it directly, he sent somebody to do this.
We find out that Katie was actually taken to Snape first because she was cursed,
That's
and
right.
and then she was taken to Saint Mungo. She didn't even go to Madame Pomfrey because she was kind of fucked up. So they took her straight to Saint Mungo's. So now we find out also that the necklace was Merope. It was her necklace, and she had sold it when she was pregnant because she needed money. Because again, Tom Riddle Sr. took off on her. So in the second lesson with Dumbledore, we go into Harry and Dumbledore go into his memory. We visit an orphanage where Tom Riddle, where Tom Riddle is because his mother, she had him in an orphanage. She died giving birth. She stopped using magic because she was so depressed that Tom Riddle Sr. left her. So we meet Tom Riddle at the age of 11. And Dumbledore tells him, you're a wizard, you're going to come to this school with other people like you. We start to see that, he's collecting trophies of people that he considered done him wrong. He's kind of a loner, and he wants, he has ambitions to be great. Those are the three things that Harry takes away from meeting 11-year old Tom Riddle. We also know that Dumbledore tells the orphanage, hey, he's gonna have to come back here every summer. They don't like him.
Like, you can keep him.
They
You want to
like,
take him
hey,
somewhere?
look,
Keep him forever.
yeah, wherever you take him, make
It's
sure you
like
leave
the,
him
the
there.
other kids are terrified of him.
Terrified. So after the second lesson, it's time for a Quidditch match against the Slytherins. Malfoy, however, doesn't play, and it's a big thing because Ron's, he's nervous about it. He didn't have a good practice, so Harry fakes like he's going to put Felix Felicis in his drink, and he also checks Hermione because Hermione was like, "Oh, that's illegal. You can't do it." And he was like,
But
"Oh,
didn't
but
you
didn't you?
just?
Like, he's only reason why he's on the team is because of you. So you really want to point fingers? But pot calling kettle black? What you want to do here?"
Right?
So
Like, you the one who put him on the team. Now you don't want me to make him good so we can
exactly.
win?
So Harry actually doesn't put the Felix Felicis in the drink, but Ron plays great anyway, and then they win, and then that's when he meets Lavender Brown, they kiss, and then Harry sees Ginny kissing Dean, and he's in his feelings about it, and then this starts this whole kind of drag with Ginny and Ron, and they're gonna argue about it, kissing and all this other shit that the movie focuses on so much. Like, they just went deep into this part of the book, and that was like what the whole movie was about.
So after this kiss between Ron and Lavender, now they're in a relationship. Hermione is butthurt about it. So Ron and Hermione are not speaking. Slughorn's party is coming up, and Hermione tells Harry that he needs to find a date because, as we know, they're learning the love potion in Slughorn's class. So she's telling him that some of these girls are going to try to do the spell on him. So she's saying he needs to find a date. He ends up taking Luna. He goes to the party. Slughorn gets him out of detention with Snape so that he can come to the party.
I just want to say I love Harry and Luna. I love it. I'm just saying.
I'm here for
I'm
it.
here for it, but go ahead.
So Slughorn is in the party gushing about Harry to Snape, which Snape is not here for none of that. Filch brings Malfoy into the party from the hallway. He says he caught him trying to sneak into the party. He was not invited. So Snape takes Malfoy back to his office. And like I said, Harry's just paranoid. So he brings the invisibility cloak and follows them to Snape's office. This is where he hears Snape telling Malfoy that he did the unbreakable vow with Narcissa to make sure that Malfoy stays safe this year. Malfoy is like, I don't need no protection. I can do this on my own. And he also tells Snape that Voldemort gave him an assignment and he has to complete it. So Harry heard all of this.
And just a pause to the actress who played Narcissa, Helen McCrory. She did pass away earlier this year, so rest in peace to her.
R.I.P.
And so after hearing all that during Christmas, they go back to the burrow, and Harry is telling everyone about the conversation, and they're like, man, no. Lupin tells them, Mr. Weasley tells them, we trust Snape. If Dumbledore trusts him, then we trust him. And Lupin has been spying on the werewolves. He actually met the werewolf that bit him, Greyback. Also, Percy shows up with the new minister, Rufus Grinjour, and he wants to have a talk with Harry outside. And this is one of like the best kind of like interactions I've seen with Harry and someone else, because Rufus was trying to get the dirt on Dumbledore, and Harry was like, bro, I'm not no snitch. I'm not telling you nothing. I'm not being no ministry puppet. You can basically go fuck yourself. And that was how Harry and Rufus ended that conversation. It was so good. I just, that was so good.
All right, so after Harry talks his shit to Scrimgeour, it's time for him to go back to school. Christmas break is over. He gets back to school and it's time for his next lesson with Dumbledore. So when he goes to Dumbledore, he tries to tell him about Snape and Malfoy's conversation. He's still stuck on that. Dumbledore is like, you gotta drop it. We got more important things.
Go, bucko.
We got more important things to do. So at this point, they start their lesson. Dumbledore starts to tell Harry more about Voldemort when he was little, when he was still Tom Riddle. It says that Dumbledore tells him that when he first came to Hogwarts, he was real low profile. Most of the teachers liked him. They took pity on him because of his situation. And then he started to do some research about the wizard side of his family. So we learned that he learned about his mom and his grandfather on his mom's side and his uncle. So then Dumbledore takes us into one of his memories, which he got from Morphin, which is Voldemort's uncle. And at this point, it's Tom Riddle going to visit Morphin, and Morphin is drunk. When he first sees him, he thinks it's Tom Riddle Sr., the Muggle. Tom Riddle tells him who he is. Morphin tells him where Tom Riddle Sr. lives. So Tom Riddle goes to see Tom Riddle Sr., offs his grand. So he goes to Azkaban for life. Luckily, Dumbledore is able to get that memory from Morphin though before Morphin dies. So that's the first memory that they go into for this lesson. Then they go into a second memory. Oh, and also it shows in that memory that Voldemort, when he stunned Morphin, he also took the Ring of Slytherin. So then the second memory that they go into is a memory from Slughorn back in the day when he was teaching Tom Riddle, and he had a group of students in his office and they were all kind of talking. Then once everybody left, Tom Riddle kind of hung out afterwards and he started asking Slughorn about Horcruxes. And in this particular memory, Slughorn doesn't give him any information about Horcruxes. He kind of cuts the conversation short. So Dumbledore and Harry come back out of the memory. Dumbledore lets Harry know that the memory has been altered because there's something that Slughorn is hiding, that he doesn't want everybody to know what exactly he told Voldemort that day about Horcruxes. So now Dumbledore tells Harry that his mission is to get the actual memory from Slughorn. And now we're getting into the thick of it. This is why Slughorn's here, and we about to find out some stuff.
All right, so Harry tells Hermione and Ron about the plan Dumbledore he came up with to find that memory that Slughorn is hiding. So the next potion class, they draw up an antidote. I think it's called Bezor, and Harry does real well as he's been doing. So now it's Ron's 17th birthday. Well, no, first before that happens, Harry talks to Slughorn about said memory, and then Slughorn figures out, did Dumbledore send you here to figure out what the fuck going on? And Harry tells him, and then Slughorn gets pissed off. It's like, all right, well, fuck you then, get out of here. I'm not telling you shit. Fuck off. So then Ron's birthday comes up, and he eats some chocolate, which turns out it was a love potion. And he walked right past Lavender, and he went to what was her name?
I
I
forgot.
forgot her name, but he went to her. The love potion candies were for Harry, but Ron ended up getting them. And then after they figure it out, he end up they take him to Slughorn. He gets the antidote, and then they're drinking butterbeer, and then Ron passes out, starts foaming at the mouth, and then we find out that he's been poisoned. But Harry has the antidote that he made earlier in class, the Bazor, whatever, gives it to Ron. He goes to the hospital wing. Everybody comes to visit him. George and Fred came. Hagrid came. The Weasleys came. Everybody came to visit him. And then that's when he's sick and he calls out for Hermione instead of Lavender. Lavender gets in her feelings. They break up. And
She was like, one time I could see you, but twice now you didn't
yeah,
left me for two different girls. We
so
gotta.
she was out of there. She was out of there. She gave up. And so now, oh, right. So Harry also puts the guy that was supposed to replace him. That was supposed to actually get the spot, McLaren, whatever his name is, puts him on a team because he didn't give a fuck about Ron. He was like, so since Ron's in the hospital, there's an open spot. So Harry puts him on a team, but he's a hothead and he cracks Harry's melon piece and whatever and puts Harry in hospital wing. But he also saw that Malfoy was leaving Quidditch and he wanted to know. He's just not letting it go, right? He's not letting it go. So then he calls Creature and then Dobby comes with Creature and he instructs them to follow Malfoy, but don't look suspicious because he had been tracking Malfoy and Crabbe and Goyle on the Marauders map and he couldn't find them doing anything suspicious. And then sometimes Malfoy would completely disappear off the Marauders map, which is why he needed Creature and Dobby to follow him, but he told him don't make it look suspicious.
It's time for Harry to have his next lesson with Dumbledore. Dumbledore asks, was he able to get the memory from Slughorn? Harry's like, oh man, I forgot. And he thinks it's all cool. Dumbledore is like, no, we need that memory to continue our
Or else none of
lessons.
this matters.
Right. He's very disappointed in him. But he ends up showing Harry two more memories during this lesson. The first memory comes from a house elf. So at this time, Tom Riddle has just finished his time at Hogwarts. He wants to be a teacher at Hogwarts. The headmaster at that time told him he was too young, so he should work somewhere else and then come back. So he ends up getting a job at Borgin and Burke's, and he runs into this lady who's really rich. She has a lot of valuables. He goes to see her. She has the my own house and I can't say it. She has the Hufflepuff cup and a Slytherin chain. And Tom Riddle really wants these things. So he kills the lady, he steals those two items, and then he frames her house elf. I guess this is his MO, like
Right, yeah,
just
like
stealing people's wands and making them look like they're responsible for the things that he's done.
pulling a lock card and shit, fucking with people's memories and
Right.
shit. Your favorite character, by the way.
Don't go there.
Okay.
So that was the first memory that Dumbledore shows in this lesson. Then the next memory is actually one of Dumbledore's own memories. At this time, some years have passed since Tom Riddle framed this old house elf. He went into hiding for a while. Now he's back. He has started the Death Eaters. There's been rumors about it. There's rumors about how he has changed his name to Voldemort. And at this point, Dumbledore is now the headmaster at Hogwarts. Voldemort comes to Dumbledore and tries to get a job again. He still wants to be a teacher at Hogwarts. But Dumbledore has been hearing these things about the Death Eaters and Voldemort. He's like,
I'm good.
I don't think this is a good fit.
We good, bro. We good.
So Voldemort is upset, and Dumbledore says ever since then he's not been able to keep a defense against the dark arts teacher for more than a year. He thinks Voldemort has something to do with that. So then they come out of that memory. Dumbledore tells Harry that it's very important for him to get this memory from Slughorn, and they cannot continue their lessons until he does that.
All right, so Harry is trying to figure out how to get the memory from Slughorn. He's unsuccessful. Hermione tells him you need to try to persuade him to give it to you as opposed to trying to trick him to give it to you. And Ron agrees. Creature and Dobby show up and they tell him we got nothing to report. We can't figure out what Malfoy's doing. Only thing he's doing is using the room of requirement. So Harry is again still on it. he skips his Hogsmeade trip to stay back and watch Malfoy. He thinks Malfoy and Crabbe and Goyle are using Polyjuice Potion, and Crabbe, no, Goyle is using the Polyjuice Potion, and he's standing guard while Malfoy's in a room of requirement. He also sees Tonks looking kind of, distraught or whatever, and he thinks it's because she's still upset about Sirius, her cousin, who he thinks she's in love with. So after striking,
I mean,
well,
it's
they're all related.
believable.
Yeah,
I was
they're
gonna
all
say they
related.
all got that whole incest thing
Look at
going
the
on.
tree; they all somewhere connected. So,
Yeah.
after his many failed attempts with Slughorn and Malfoy, they suggest Ron and Hermione that he use the Felix Felicis. Harry is hesitant because he didn't want to use it for that. He wanted to use it on Ginny and Dean. He wanted to get
Wanted them to break up.
wanted them to
Like
break up.
these are real. People are dying.
People are
And you want to
dying.
use this on some love? Like if she don't want you, she don't want
What's
you.
bad about it? He was like, "All right, I'm gonna just use half." Like, bro, use it all. Stop playing. So he's like, "All right, I'm gonna use half of it." Ron and Hermione have apparition tests. Harry doesn't have it because he's too young, but Hermione passes it. Ron fails it. He left back an eyebrow, and in class, so Harry has to go to potions. In class, there's only like 3 students there because the rest are probably taking a test or whatever. So Slughorn's like, make something fun. And so Harry looks into the book and he drafts up some Euphoria. And he's like, all right, since he's still trying not to use the Felix Felicis, he's like, I'm going to use this instead. That does not work. So now he's like, all right, he got no choice. Now it's like, all right.
Now I got
But
to.
they get a letter from Hagrid telling them that Aragog died and he wanted them to sneak to the barrier or whatever. And they all said no. Like, no, we good. But Harry was like, you know what? This may be a time. So he drinks the Felix Felicis and then he goes. Professor Slughorn wanted to go so he can get some venom from Aragog. So Hagrid, Slughorn, and Harry go to bury Aragog so Slughorn can get the venom. They go back to Hagrid's hut and they started drinking. Harry then uses the silent spell to refill the wine to get them drunk. So Harry thinking now. Also, while he was using the Felix, everything was going his way. There was no one in the hallway. The doors are unlocked, so it's working. So he starts. So Hagrid passed out. Hagrid passed out from drinking.
Can't hold his liquor.
Can't hold his liquor. So he starts to have the conversation with Slughorn, and that's when he started to tell Slughorn about how Voldemort killed his favorite student, which was Lily. We found that out that Lily was Slughorn's favorite student. So then Slughorn is like, all right, I'm gonna tell you, but you must not judge me from what you're about to hear.
So Harry now has the real memory from Slughorn, what happened between him and Tom Riddle that day when he asked about Horcruxes. So he leaves Hagrid's hut. He goes back to Hogwarts. He goes to Dumbledore, and Dumbledore and Harry go into the memory together. We're back in Slughorn's office way back when Tom Riddle asked him about making Horcruxes, and we see what Slughorn really told him. So he told him that Horcruxes deal with splitting your soul to make you immortal. So then Tom Riddle is like, okay, well, what if I wanted to do it multiple times? And Slughorn at that point is like, I thought we were talking hypothetically. This sounds like you might really start to do it.
And then he was like, how many times? 7?
Right. Voldemort's like, so what if I want to do it 7 times? And he's like, nobody's ever done it more than once. So then he realized that it was at that moment that he knew
he fucked up.
So then he started to regret it and he didn't say anything else. So then that's the end of the memory. Now we're back in Dumbledore's office with Dumbledore and Harry. Dumbledore starts to tell Harry what he knows. So he knows that Voldemort did actually do this Horcrux thing and he did it more than once. He knows that one of the Horcruxes was Tom Riddle's diary, which we know that Harry has already destroyed in a previous book and movie. He knows that the Slytherin ring was another one, which is why he went to go get it. He wore it on his finger. He burnt his finger in order to destroy the ring. So now he's thinking that the next 2 Horcruxes are the Hufflepuff cup and the Slytherin necklace that Tom Riddle stole from the rich old lady. So far Dumbledore knows about 4 of the Horcruxes, and he's not quite sure what the other ones are, but he thinks that the number 5 and number 6 would be something from Ravenclaw and Gryffindor, since he hasn't had anything from those 2 houses yet. And he thinks that's why Voldemort wanted to come back to be a teacher at Hogwarts, so
he wanted to steal something from
right,
Gryffindor.
their most like valuable thing, and that's what he was going to turn into a Horcrux. So then Harry is like, okay, well, can I help you find the rest of them? And Dumbledore's like, well, obviously, that's why I'm calling you here.
What do you think we've been doing this whole time? Why do you think? Come on now. And so just to be clear, you guys already know this, but anyway, when you have to kill. The reason why it's so bad about splitting your soul is because you have to kill someone,
right,
in order to split your soul. So you want 7, then you have to kill. So you have to drop 7 bodies. That's a lot of bodies to be talking or to be having a conversation with a child about. It's like,
right,
you talking about killing 7 people. So
to make yourself immortal.
Exactly.
Like, what are you trying to do exactly?
Splitting your soul comes with killing someone. So when you kill someone, you split your soul. You put it in your piece of your soul into said item that you're trying to split your soul.
Right, so Harry knows that he's going to help Dumbledore find the rest of the Horcruxes. At this point, he's kind of going back to what him and Dumbledore already talked about with the prophecy, and he remembers Dumbledore telling him that something about love is what's going to help him win in the end. So now he asks Dumbledore about that again. He's like, this person that got all these Horcruxes and killed all these people, you think I'm gonna off him with just love? Like, what?
Give me a gun. Give me a gun.
So Dumbledore explains it a little bit more. He says that the prophecy was not put into action until Voldemort acted on it. So we know that Voldemort only heard half of the prophecy. He didn't hear the whole thing, and he just sprung into action with it, thinking that it was Harry. It could have possibly have been Neville, but he took action onto Harry, so he is the one who put it into place. So now Dumbledore is trying to convince Harry that he has everything he needs to be able to defeat Voldemort.
He deemed Harry his equal, right? At that time when he chose Harry, he deemed him as his equal, because the prophecy says something about your equal or something like that. Whatever that person the prophecy was speaking of, by Voldemort going after Harry, he made him that person.
Right.
So it could have easily been Neville, but he made Harry that person. So was that it? All right. So now we're back to, like, we're in the common room, not in the common room, we're in the Great Hall or whatever. And Ron and Lavender are broken up, and so is Ginny and Dean. Katie comes back from St. Mungo's, and they're asking all these questions like, who gave you the necklace? And she's like, I don't know, I got it from the women's bathroom. Harry is convinced that it's Malfoy and they're using Polyjuice potion. So he goes to well, they have one more Quidditch game left, and he's happy. He's optimistic because he thinks that since Katie's back, that they'll be able to win. So he goes to Myrtle's bathroom, and he hears someone crying, which was Malfoy, and he heard Malfoy saying that someone's gonna kill him. Malfoy hears him, and he tries to put the Crucio curse on Harry, but Harry weaved that shit and hit him with the Sanctum Sempra, which is a curse that he got out of the book. Mind you, he did not know what this spell does. He saw it in the book, and he used it on someone, and he almost killed Malfoy. He gave him a big old gash in his chest, his face, and then Myrtle comes in there screaming murder. And mind you, Dumbledore told him, do not get in any trouble. He's already got his nose broke. He's already talked shit to the Minister of Magic. He's gotten detention, and now he's almost killed someone. So Snape comes in miraculously, and he's like, go give me all your shit. I want to know where you got the spell from. So Harry takes the Half-Blood Prince book, and he throws it into the room of requirement. He goes and gets Ron's potion book and brings it back with the rest of the stuff. And Snape knew he was full of shit. He was like, well, is this your book? He was like, yeah, lying and shit. So Snape was like, all right, I don't believe that shit. You get in detention for every Saturday for the rest of the school year, I think he said, which means Harry couldn't compete in the last Quidditch game. But Gryffindor, they compete and they win. When Harry comes back from detention, That's when he figures that. That's when he finds out, and then him and Jenny kiss, and then Ron's like, "All right, I approve of that."
Imagine being Snape and always catching Harry, but never having the proof you need to incriminate him. Like, this has gone
Imagine.
on too many times. He knows Harry snuck into Hogsmeade that one year with the invisibility cloak, but he can't prove it.
Hmm.
He knows that
It was Harry
Harry,
that night whenever he dropped the goblet of fire when Moody had to save Harry when he stepped on that step, and
right.
he had him dead to rights there.
He knew that it was Harry who set Sirius free.
Oh yeah,
He couldn't do nothing about that.
That would hurt. That would hurt.
And he knows that Harry is the one who did something to Malfoy using the book that he has from potions class, but he can't prove that either.
No,
Like,
it's like no, it's not. Think about it. He invented that spell,
right?
And so
Well,
he knows.
We don't know that yet, but yeah.
Well, but no, Snape knows it.
Yeah.
Like, he invented that spell, and
And
he's
he
like,
knows that Harry has the book.
yeah, he's like, bruh, like,
I can kind of see why Snape don't like this boy. Like, he came in not liking him, so
I mean,
just because of his dad or
he is a
whatever.
child.
But
he is a kid though.
But I can kind of see why at this point Snape don't like him.
He's a kid though, and Snape's a grown man.
What?
All right.
So now Harry and Ginny are dating. Ron approves of it. Hermione is trying to figure out who this half-blood prince is, especially now that Harry did a spell out of that book that has almost killed a student. She's really adamant about figuring out who it is. Harry gets a note from Dumbledore to come see him in his office. So Harry's on the way to Dumbledore. On his way, he just so happens to see Trelawney in the hallway, who for some reason starts talking about the night that she heard the prophecy. She ends up telling Harry that it was Snape who told the prophecy to Voldemort. So now Harry is
Told half the prophecy.
Told half the prophecy, yes. So now Harry is furious in Dumbledore's office. He's like, you never told me that part. I told you Snape was not trustworthy. He's the reason my parents are dead. Like, he is just going off on Dumbledore.
Can I explain why? I mean, can I ask why this was not in the movie? We got all this one bullshit, but we couldn't get one of the most crucial pieces
Right.
of the, like, this is a pivotal piece of the whole story, and it's completely left out of, like, I cannot stress this enough. Knowing that Snape told Voldemort half the prophecy is so
So essential.
It's so essential to the story, and they completely left it out. They put all this one bullshit in there. And with Lavender, they even went out their way to cast a new actress for this part, and they left out one of the most important parts of the story.
Reasons why I didn't understand the movies before I read the book.
I mean, it makes no sense. Like even, and then we get we'll talk about that later. But again, if you've already this far into the books, I mean, you've read the books, so you see them or whatever. But then when we get the scene of Dumbledore and Snape in the movies I'm talking about, and he's saying, like, why, like, you owe me and all that stuff. Why does he owe him? Oh, because of what Dumbledore knows Snape did. If you never read the books, you don't fucking know that because they didn't put it in the fucking movie.
All right. Calm down. Let's backtrack. Right. So we're back to Harry laying into Dumbledore in his office. He's furious. He's like, Snape is the reason why my parents are dead. So why do you trust him? And then he's back on this whole Snape and Malfoy are doing something. And Dumbledore once again tells him, you need to drop it. He's like, I got a new mission. I think I know the next Horcrux that we need to find. Do you want to come with me? And so, of course, Harry wants to go with him. And Dumbledore tells Harry, no matter what happens out here, you need to do exactly as I say, even if it means that you need to leave me behind or whatever. Just do exactly as I say if you're going to come with me to find this Horcrux.
So they apparate to this cave place, and this was a place where the orphanage took Voldemort like on a field trip or whatever. And if I'm correct, and they may mention this later, but weren't there some kids that like went missing in this cave or something like that?
Oh, I don't remember. It was because of Tom Riddle.
Yeah,
he did something to them.
I feel like I remember this will come up later, but I think they said it was like some kids missing, which is probably why Dumbledore thought that this would be a place. So it's in some cave. They take a boat to. It says something about Dumbledore having the intuition of magic to kind of guess where guess where the Horcrux was. And so they have these things in the water called Inferi. I think that's what it's called, Inferi. But they take the boat across this lake or whatever to this basin. It's kind of sitting in the middle, surrounded by water. They take it there, and it's some liquid inside that Harry makes Dumbledore drink, and while he's giving it to him, Dumbledore is screaming in pain, saying, "Stop, please stop." And Harry just keeps going until it's all gone, and there's a locket inside of the bowl. And once they're done, Harry's like, "Hey, can I get some?" Dumbledore's like, "Hey, can I get some water?" And Harry's like, "Yeah, I'll go minty into the bowl, but it's not filling up." So he tries to go to the get some water from the river, lake, or wherever that, and then the Inferi jump out of the water. And they almost drag him in, but then Dumbledore comes back. He gets enough strength, and he turns that bitch up with some fire or whatever. And then they grab the locket, and then they leave and they apparate back. But Dumbledore is kind of weak now because of all of that. I'm guessing poison that he was forced to ingest.
Yeah, Voldemort wasn't no fool. He's not going to just put these Horcruxes anywhere that anybody could get them.
But I'm still tripping off why they didn't put that. All right.
Let it go, okay? You like Harry with Snape and Malfoy. You need to drop it.
Like, they couldn't.
You need to drop it.
They couldn't leave us a hint, though. They couldn't do. Just think about that. Think about it.
We're gonna move on.
All right. I'm gonna let it go.
So when Harry and Dumbledore apparate back, they apparate into Hogsmeade, and there they see Rosmerta, however you pronounce Rosmerta. She shows them that the dark mark is over the school. So Dumbledore is still kind of weak because of what was going on, but at this point, the adrenaline starts rushing because he sees the dark mark. So they use some brooms to fly back to Hogwarts. Harry is under the invisibility cloak. As soon as they get back to Hogwarts, Draco comes at Dumbledore with his wand out. At that point, Dumbledore stuns Harry, so he's frozen, he can't move, and he's still under the invisibility cloak. So all he can do is sit there and watch. Nobody else knows he's there. Draco starts to explain what's been going on. When he went to Nocturne Alley, he went to get the 2 vanishing cabinets. So he stationed one inside of Hogwarts in order to allow Death Eaters to come in. So now Death Eaters are coming in. Actually, no, before that, Dumbledore says that he knew all of this was going to happen because, of course, that's what Dumbledore would say. And he's trying to tell Malfoy, you don't have to do this. Now he knows what Malfoy's assignment is, which is to kill Dumbledore. This is the assignment that Voldemort has sent him on. So Dumbledore is like, you don't have to do this. I'll protect you. I'll protect your family. At this point, it's too late. Death Eaters start coming. They start peer pressuring Malfoy. They're like, you know what you have to do. Do it now. So Malfoy tries to do it. He can't. He's a little bitch.
Keep in mind, this is one of the reasons why I don't think Malfoy should be able to just like walk away at the end of the movie. He's responsible, not indirect. I guess their rules don't work like ours, but he's directly responsible for the deaths of people at Hogwarts because he let the Death Eaters in. So
right.
Like, why does he get to just like walk away free? But I'll rant about that later.
That's for another time.
I'm planning my rants.
I see that. You are on a roll now. So Malfoy is supposed to be killing Dumbledore. He can't do it. Of course, here comes Snape. He did the unbreakable vow with Narcissa, saying that he would protect Malfoy. He knows that if Malfoy does not carry out this mission, Voldemort is going to off him. So then Snape comes up to
and
Dumbledore.
He'll die too.
Who? Snape will?
Yeah,
for not protecting him?
For not helping him finish, because that's part of the unbreakable. If you break it, you die. So
Snape goes up to Dumbledore. It looks like Dumbledore is pleading with him and he's saying, please, please. Snape kills him. Dumbledore falls off the tower. Poor Harry is just stuck there watching all of this. He can't do anything about it. He is stunned.
J.K. Rowling hated this man. She hated him. How does he not have like severe PTSD? Like, how's he able to function? Like, she hated this man.
I'm sure he does. He has to. Like, there's no way.
On. Like, go ahead.
That's it. So he's still stuck there. He's watching all these Death Eaters and he's stuck there under the invisibility cloak, and Dumbledore is no longer with us. R.I.P. to that man.
R.I.P. to Dumbledore. So once he hits the ground, Harry becomes unstunned and he runs after. So he run back to school, and he sees the Death Eaters or the Dumbledore's army and the Order are all there fighting Death Eaters. There's bodies and ass everywhere. He's not even checking to identify who's who. He runs after Snape and Malfoy. He sees them trying to get away, and so he tries to curse Snape, and Curse blocks that shit. And so then he tries to use Sanctum Sempra, and Snape was like, "Bruh, you dare try to use my own spell against me?
On me?
I am the Half-Blood Prince." And so Harry like, oh shit. And then
He's just in a downward spiral at this point.
Right. Then Snape hit her with another. He was like, bro, your daddy tried the same thing. He tried to use the same spell on me, bro. Y'all gotta quit it. So they leave what's her name, Bellatrix, and they set blaze to Hagrid's hut. And once they get away, Hagrid and Harry they go back to school. He tells them it was Snape who killed Dumbledore. He sees Dumbledore's body. He goes over to it and he gets the locket. And in the locket though, there's a note that says, "This is a fake. I have the real one, and I'm gonna destroy it. R.A.B." We don't know who the fuck that is at this time.
But poor Harry, man. We did all of this and this ain't even the right thing.
This ain't even like...
All of this was for nothing. Dumbledore died for nothing.
He was gonna die anyway, though.
Yeah.
He had to. Dumbledore was gonna die anyway.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that Harry had to make him suffer. Like, Harry had to watch him beg and plead in pain to get that locket, and then watch him then die for real, like, moments after. Like, come on.
All on the same day.
Same day, same hour. Like,
Right.
this is minutes apart. Like, they operated, and then, you kind of feel for him at this point. It's like his
and
mentor.
it's also, you're also left to believe, like, wow, Harry was right. Like, he's been trying to tell Dumbledore all this time that Snape and Malfoy
But he knew that.
cannot be trusted.
Dumbledore knew that, because we'll see in that, and when they go into the memory,
Right.
he tells Snape, he was like, you know.
Yeah, but Harry doesn't know that at
Harry
this
don't know that.
point.
And then-
All he can probably think is, I tried to tell you this and you wouldn't listen to me.
And then think about it. Think how mad Harry was at the time. He had also just found out Snape is responsible for his parents' death.
Right.
And now he watch him kill like his mentor, his everybody. Look, oh my God, the emotions.
He got to get it back in blood. He
Like,
already
get it back in blood. He was ready. He already saw what that spell did to Malfoy. He was ready to do it to Snape. That man had murder on his mind.
So Harry is still furious about what's going on, and he wants to get at Snape, but Hagrid tells him it's time to go back to Hogwarts. He knows that while he was away with Dumbledore, there was the huge battle between Dumbledore's army and the Death Eaters. One of the people that came to fight was Bill, who is Ron's older brother. He was attacked by Greyback, the werewolf, during the fight. Lupin tells him that he was bitten, but he may not turn into a werewolf, but his scars will definitely be permanent. Also during this time, Hermione and Ron start to tell Harry what was happening at school while he was away with Dumbledore. They said that they were standing guard at the room of requirement. They saw Malfoy come out and he made everything dark. So they went to McGonagall, and McGonagall sent for Snape because Snape is Malfoy's head. So she's now feeling guilty. She feels responsible for Dumbledore's death in a way because she's the one who went to get Snape. And it turns out that Snape was in cahoots with these people, with the Death Eaters, and he killed Dumbledore. So now McGonagall is going to the other heads and trying to see what they should do next, and they're saying that they need to just end the school year, send everybody back home. They'll resume classes next school year, but before they leave, they want to have a funeral for Dumbledore.
So while they're getting funeral preparations, classes are canceled. Some students actually leave early, and during that time, Hermione has figured out why or how Snape is the Half-Blood Prince, because he is half-blood. His father is a Muggle, and his mother's last name was Prince. So there goes Half-Blood Prince. And then they have the funeral for Dumbledore. A lot of people showed up. It was a celebration. It was a party. And then Harry tells Ginny, "Look, we got to break up. Voldemort's gonna come after me. He's gonna most likely come after you to get to me. So they have to break up." He also tells Ron and Hermione, "This is it for me. I'm not coming back to school. Once the summer's over, I'm going to leave the Dursleys for good, but I'm going to hunt Horcruxes." this was actually in Half-Blood Prince, the movie. I mean, the book. It wasn't in the movie. They actually stuck this in the beginning of Deathly Hallows. Because when Ron tells him, bro, we went this one, he's like, I can't go back to school. There's Horcruxes right there. He was like, we wouldn't last a week without Hermione, so Hermione's got to come. So they stuck this wedding stuff, all of this wedding stuff, in the beginning of Deathly Hallows, but it actually happened at the end of Half-Blood Prince. So that's how the movie ended. Harry is prepared to put on his big boy, his big boy boots, and he's done with school.
He knows what he has to do next. He knows the mission.
Well, he understands the assignment. Dumbledore didn't leave him a lot to go on. Don't know where the rest of the Horcruxes are. None of that. What they are, let alone where they are. Yeah. But
all he knows is that he about to get active, and Voldemort probably is too.
Yep. So at this point, I stopped judging the books like individually. What I kind of like look at it as, did it add something to the story? Did it add to the lore or whatever? And it did.
It definitely did.
It added so much. Like, again, the whole. All right.
This was the first time that Dumbledore was actually honest with Harry, which I really appreciated from this book. Even though Dumbledore should have done this a long time ago before all of this started, he thought that Harry was too young, so he was kind of, at a crossroads between should I tell him and should I not. But at this point, he sees the severity of the situation, and this is the first time that we know everything.
And I don't know if he told Harry everything because of that or because he knew he was going to die. Because again, he did know that Malfoy was sent to kill him. We find it out later, but he knows now that Malfoy was sent to kill him. So, but he did tell Harry everything, which was nice. But I think this movie, like with the Horcrux, we get the explanation of the Horcrux. This is actually, the most important book.
Right.
This is the most important book. We find out
the vital information that we need to understand the rest of.
We know why Voldemort is. We know how he is. We know what he did. We know the prophecy. We know how he got half the prophecy. We know that he made Harry equal. We know Malfoy was almost the chosen one. Like, we know everything, and it all came to this book. And it's sad that we got a movie that was drawn out. It was dull. It was boring. They focused on all the wrong. You know what? I'm not even gonna go there.
This is definitely one of the ones where you have to read the book. If you are watching this and you've only seen the movie, go read the book.
Yes. I'm not even gonna read the book. I didn't even make her read the book. I was never gonna make her read the books until she was like, I don't understand it. I'm like, well, now you gotta read the book.
You have to read the book.
You have to read the book. It's, again, you won't be disappointed by reading the book. Watching the movie, it's drawn, it's borne out, like the colors are all dark and gloomy, which I like it because that's where the story is heading. Now, I like, what I'm saying, it's heading to a dark and gloomy place, but it just focused on all the wrong things. And that's all I have to say on Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on what you thought was your favorite part of the book, or if you thought this book was good or not. And and we'll be back and we're gonna do one movie for Deathly Hallows Part 1. Well, it was only one book, but it was 2 movies. So we're our last video for the Harry Potter as far as the books and movies. So it's kind of sad to bring it to an end because this journey started a year ago, whatever.
So long ago.
But
we're excited to get you guys the last video. Hopefully you've been rocking with us along the way.
And so we'll see y'all in the next one. Thank you if you made it all the way through this video, and enjoy the rest of your day.